What is up, XRP community? Welcome back to a daily upload. I'm going to be putting out videos every day for the next 300 days. So if you enjoy daily crypto updates covered around XRP, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It really does support. Thank you in advance. I want to bring you guys a potential scenario for where the general crypto market could be going. This is a copied tweet from Crypto Capo, a guy who's been wrong a lot, but this is actually something that I am kind of leaning towards right now. If you look at the Bitcoin price chart, you can see this range around 31K has been tested, and failed again at an even lower range, 28K, when we were rejected yesterday, when Bitcoin went down about $1,000. You're looking at potentially 19, 20K Bitcoin next, and a lot of people have said 12K is going to be the next bottom. Now, keep in mind, this is just one theory. In yesterday's video, I talked about someone else's hypothesis that the only way that we reach a 12K Bitcoin, and a 12K Bitcoin is going to bring down all other tokens as well, is if there's another black swan event like a COVID-19 or a FTX Luna situation. So I just wanted to bring this scenario to you. I'm not saying this is fact, but these are potential scenarios that could happen. And a lot of big investment managers right now are holding cash on the sideline. That's why it's always good to dollar cost average, buy a little bit here, buy a little bit there, but never put all of your assets into one bag at one time, because if price goes the wrong direction, you're not going to be too happy. A big trial coming up. Sam Bankman-Fried, the FTX scammer, his trial goes underway on October 4th. So if you're into legal things like that, maybe check it out. A big development on the XRP Ledger. Ripple just tweeted this out. If you guys need a spot to get XRP or Flare, I recommend Uphold. It's sleek, it's simple, it's secure. It's where I dollar cost average and get my XRP daily. A link to Uphold in the video description below. And if you want $41 guaranteed for free, sign up with Webull, deposit just 1 penny, and you can get up to $3,000 in free stocks. Now, typically, you just get 40 to 300 bucks, but it's a great offer just for signing up, depositing 1 cent. You're guaranteed $41 in free stocks, and you could possibly get more. A link to Webull in the video description below. Can XRP outperform Bitcoin in the next bull run? Now, a lot of people feel like they're a little bit late to the XRP army. XRP was incepted in 2012, and it's been 11 years. However, XRP is one of the few tokens that still has not hit all-time highs, and practically everything in the last bull run from 2020 to 2022 did hit all-time highs. And take the value proposition, take all the value and problems that XRP solves aside, just the fact that this price has not returned to all-time highs is potential in and of itself. And then you package in all of the developments that are happening on the XRP Ledger, all of the partnerships they have with these CBDCs. There's a lot of potential here. XRP can handle 293 million transactions daily. Now, how do we get this number? This is from Alex Cobb. Opinions on him aside, it's just simple math. XRPL can handle 3,400 transactions per second. If you take the amount of seconds in a day, multiply it by 3,400, this is the number you get, 293 million. So this is a scalable cryptocurrency. I don't have the number for Bitcoin, but I know it's not even close to this number. And for cross-border payments internationally, you're going to need hundreds of millions of daily transactions. Some positive news about the crypto markets. Tether USDT, by far the biggest stablecoin. The amount of USDT on exchanges jumps to 25%. This is the highest stablecoin buying power in 6 months. Okay, what does it mean when stablecoins are on exchanges? Well, the title kind of gives it away. Buying power. When people keep crypto on exchanges, there's a risk. When you keep your money on an exchange, you aren't the custody holder of that crypto. The exchange is. If the exchange goes under, which we've seen many times before, then your crypto is lost. So when I see a headline like this, I get a little bit of a bullish reflex, because the only reason there would be more stable coins on exchanges is people want to have access to their buying power. And if you look at what I led this video with, this potentially short-term bearish scenario, we could easily see a dip in Bitcoin. The next Bitcoin halving is about 250 roughly, I don't know the exact day, away. And the Bitcoin halving, if you don't know what that is a supply shock that happens to Bitcoin every 4 to 5 years. So we still have about a year from this happening. I would not be surprised for market makers, the people that move these charts. People look at a price chart and they think it's all random, right? The people that have billions of dollars, the smart money, they move the price charts. So stop thinking of a price chart as something random. A price chart is made by market makers. That's why they're called market makers. And I would not be surprised at all for market makers to dump the prices just to scare people so they can get a better deal before this Bitcoin halving, which ultimately throughout history has usually started the next bull run. Now the Bitcoin halving happens, and then a few months later, that's when you start to see the next bull run. It's not like the Bitcoin halving happens and immediately we just go green. It typically lags a little bit after that. So the big development on the XRP Ledger. Clawback is a newly proposed feature that adds to the XRP Ledger's token asset control capabilities. It is part of the last Rippled 1.12.0 release and eligible for voting by the validator community. So it hasn't been passed yet, but I think this is a positive development. If adopted, the XLS39 clawback feature will enable developers to provide enhanced trust and safety for their issued assets. And when we talk about a ledger or a blockchain that's going to be scalable and used by the masses, we need this feature, and I'll tell you why. Validators should review the documentation to understand its functionality and lightweight impact to the XRPL. Developers may find the optional clawback feature useful when issuing assets in certain geographies. If enabled, clawback allows the issuer to claw back, take back, tokens in case of fraudulent activity for account recovery purposes when a user loses access to their account. Now, this is kind of controversial because blockchain technology was made so that this is not really possible. However, traditional finance and decentralized finance have to compromise on something. And when you think about these big bankers and elites, I believe this is a form of control that they would want, right? Now, it does open the door. Who is the one that determines account recovery purposes? Who determines fraudulent activities? If this clawback feature is enabled, it is a little bit of a blurry line, but if it is only used for fraudulent activity, if it is only used for account recovery purposes, I see this as a positive. The clawback feature works by enabling a flag for a trust line, which users need to send and receive a given asset with one another. Before purchasing a token, users can check the trust line to understand whether the clawback account level flag is activated. This complements the freeze feature, a similar account level flag that can affect a trust line. Freeze allows an issuer to freeze assets in cases where malicious activity has occurred. Trust lines are an object type that enable the XRP ledger to have effective asset control features. Right? This is something that I think central bankers and elites are going to be very favorable to, and I think the traditional crypto investor is not going to like this. But like I was saying, you need to compromise on some things with these traditional finance people. They act as a spam control filter and prevent users from sending unsolicited or unwanted tokens to one another. This is another positive. If you guys have done a lot of trading in crypto and you have a few wallets, you'll notice sometimes a random token appears in your wallet. And if you interact with that random token, you might think, oh, I just got some free money, right? If you interact with these random tokens, they can sometimes compromise your wallet's security. So this spam control filter, preventing users from just flooding lots of tokens to one another without their consent, I see it as a positive. Authorized trust lines enable an issuer to determine which accounts may receive or hold an issued asset. This can be important depending on the project and where the issuer and their end users are located. The trust line object type, modifying capabilities of the freeze, and proposed clawback features are built to work natively on the XRP Ledger for developers to hashtag build with confidence. And we have this lady who's a big crypto influencer saying very bullish or very bearish. This is no bueno. Why? Like I was saying, this kind of goes against the ethos of crypto. Maybe I'm being a little bit too positive here about it, but like I've said twice already, there has to be some compromises between traditional finance and decentralized finance. These elites that control these central banks that run the world of finance, They're not going to want totally untethered cryptocurrency control where the people typically have all the power. Now, in a perfect world, the government isn't overreaching. This doesn't exist, but we don't live in a perfect world, as I'm sure you already know that. I want to leave you guys with this clip from Joseph Lubin talking about why people want to kill crypto. It's very interesting. This is one of the Ethereum big shots. Basically, could put them up there with Vitalik Buterin, and it's a very, very intriguing clip. If you guys made it this far in the video, comment freeze in the comment section below. It really helps support the channel, and it's free, and I'm genuinely appreciative. All right, take a listen.
Any kind of long-term thoughts on where that nets out, or how do you sort of see that evolve?
Yeah, so to keep it simple, we were more worried a few months ago. We are less concerned now.
Why is that?
So the executive branch in the U.S. Is interested in slowing or killing crypto for national security reasons. Essentially, the U.S. Runs the world, so they believe, and they run the world through intermediaries, especially financial intermediaries. Our technology is all about having a new trust foundation and removing the need for intermediaries in many cases, or right-sizing the amount of power and extraction of value of intermediaries in other cases. And that's effectively incompatible with the way the leaders of the United States prefer to run things. Not incompatible with the American experiment, I think, which favors things like free speech,
Entrepreneurship, also how they're hunters to make things better.
Open markets, free market capitalism, even, which we don't really have in the United States. So they're gonna do what they normally do when any new technology emerges that they have to capture, that they feel they have to capture. So internet, webs, cryptography,
SSL all together.
Exactly. And so they'll overreach as much as they can. And the legislative branch of government will split 50-50 to some degree, and they'll battle it out a little bit. And we're seeing clear heads prevail in the judiciary, as one would expect. And so we'll get unbiased reads of the laws and scrutiny of behavior of different agencies. The Supreme Court is looking like they're not pleased with how certain agencies are behaving. So there's this notion of deference to agencies, meaning, hey, the agencies are, SECs, et cetera, are experts. They must be good people. They obviously know what they're doing. We're going to give them leeway to make rules. And the Supreme Court is recently pushing back on deference and sort of maybe eliminating that approach to how the judiciary deals with them. So the Ripple XRP ruling was very favorable to centralized exchanges and wallets and anybody who cares about doing things with tokens. We were concerned that there might be FUD rulings. Gary would wave his arm and declare all tokens officially illegal, according to the SEC, and that would be a bit problematic for our business at MetaMask. It wouldn't be catastrophic because we're in nearly 200 countries around the world, and so we would lose a decent chunk of our revenue, but we would continue to operate, and we'd emphasize other places. So bottom line, we can, as an ecosystem, we can continue to operate globally and in the US, kind of unfettered, with much more attention to rigor around decentralizing things, because when things are decentralized, then the Securities Exchange and Centralization Control Commission, that's what they're there for. Centralization is something that needs to be regulated, and as long as we design as we should and execute as we should in our ecosystem, then the SEC can't do that much in a sane world. No, so
Let's hope. Do you think that this was just the play that had to be in this timeline? Like it just had to take these many years to figure out how people sort of get more comfortable with understanding what's going on at the higher levels of the government? Or is it that it's just a one-off case that, hey, the Ripple case sort of kind of won the case law here on what the definitions are, but it may not actually mean that everything else is fine too?
So the timeline's interesting. I and others felt at the beginning of this adventure that we're doing some things that are going to lead to a clash of civilizations. One based on centralized top-down command and control trust, the other based on this new invention, decentralized trust, and they're the incumbents, and they've got the guns, and but we got the people, The plan, if there was a plan, was to keep our heads down and build and see how far we can get before they really take notice. And thank you, Sam Bankman-Fried and others. So CeFi essentially